Stock Diaries. Learn and grow.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Stock Diaries. In last video we discussed about the various approaches. We said that there could be many approaches to send our data to controller. I have come up with a simple solution, and I'm going to show that to you in a bit. So let's see how much we have built till now. Okay, so we have created the screen, we have created the input box, and whenever we type in, the value comes in calculator. But now we need to we need to separate the whatever we write in our screen into whatever we type into our calculator. We need to separate that into operands and operators so that our system can understand it. So let's create some hidden fields for that. There could be many approaches. I'm using hidden fields. Right now I'm going to use them as a text field. But why I'm going to have our HTML fields? Because I want to see if the logic that I'm applying is actually working fine or not. So I have created 4 input fields. One is for first operand. Second is for say the second operand, and then we have our old operator and new operator. So what I'm going to do is, say if someone types in 1 plus 2 into 3. So 1 is operand 1, plus is the operator, and 2 is the second operand, and then into is the new operator. So I want to bifurcate this so that each and every action can be told separately to the system. See, this is what I want. I have bifurcated each and every part of the string into various input fields, and then I'm going to send them separately based on the action that I have selected, so that the user can understand it. Or I could create a single say controller in which I will send these values, and based on the 2 operands and the operator, the result would be performed and then returned back to the calculator. So for this I need to write some code into my JavaScript. Okay, let's go into the file. So I'll write all the logic to populate the new fields that I have created. I have created new HTML text boxes. So the logic to populate those text boxes would go into here. In the last video, I write the logic that if the value that I enter into the calculator is not equal to the equal to symbol, then this function would be run. If anyone would have missed the last function, video, then I would recall. Let's visit the. Okay, I'm just referencing the inArray function. What I'm going to do is I have created an array of operators, and I'm going to check the each time that I enter a value into the calculator. So this function would be hit. Now I'm trying to check whether the value entered into the calculator is an operator or an operand. So I've created an array of operators, and inArray function helps me to check whether a value is present in an array or not. Array is a collection of data, can be termed as array. I'm just going to check whether my whether the symbol entered into the calculator is inside the array or not. This dollar is basically jQuery symbol. So inArray is the function. InArray would return, or basically the index would be returned. So I would check whether the value is greater than -1 or not. -1 would be returned if the value is not found at all. So let me just say. So what I'm doing is I have entered the value, and then I have entered the array. These are the 2 values that this function takes, and it checks whether the value exists into the array or not. So I'm going to check whether the value is an operator or not. So this condition checks if the value is not equal to -1, then it is a success. Then only I need to execute the code, and I need to populate the value. And I'll put it into an operator. And if the value is not an operator, then it is going to be a number, or basically an operand. Okay, so let's add it to basically the first operator right now. Okay, so we'll populate it here. We'll select the element by ID, select the old operator, and then we enter the value, whatever the operator the person has typed in. Okay, that seems to be right. And otherwise it could be either operand 1 or operand 2 as well, because it could happen the person has entered a number, then he entered the operator, then he entered again a number. So right now what we do is we first check whether the operator has a value or not, because if old operator has a value, then it should go into operand 2, otherwise it should go as operand 1. So we are checking whether the old operator is undefined, whether it has no value, or if the old operator is equal to empty string, I mean it has no value. Why I've used this trim function to check if someone has a space value in it or not. Sometimes it happens. So if that is the case, then it is operand 1, otherwise it is operand 2. Incase number. Okay, now what can happen is we could also have multiple digit number. So it can happen if someone has entered 1 or 2 digit number. I mean someone entered say 2 and then he entered 4 again, so he want to enter 24. So there could be a case when we have multiple digit numbers. So what we do is we'll take the value of OP1, the old value if there is any, and if there is any old value, then what we are going to do is we are going to concatenate the new value. So if the old value is 2 and someone enters 4, so what we'll do is we'll concatenate 4 to 2, so it becomes 24. Because it can happen if someone has entered a multiple digit number, so this can happen. And same will go with the operand 2 as well. Okay, this should be good. Let's test it. Now it is firing. See? Okay, then see. So the logic till now is fine. Now there could be a case when someone say, sometimes what we do is like 24 plus 32 then plus 7. So like this we do sometimes. In that situation there is a new operator. So we need to handle that as well, because whenever that happens, so we'll just keep the old operator value as common, assign that value here, because we are going to use it quite often. So let me just check it. I'm reading all the values outside the condition, because we are going to use it, because so this will help me keep the code quite clean. It's easy to understand and read, and there's no need to again use jQuery selectors, because whenever we use a jQuery selector, uh, it searches the element again and again. So there's no use of it, because we are going to check values in the input fields again and again, and we are going to update the values based on whether there's a value in the field or not. So there's no use of fetching the values, again and again, checking the values, because each time you use a jQuery selector, it is going to search for the element in the domain. Okay. So now what we are doing, we have added the condition that if the value is indeed an operator, then if the old operator is null, then only add it to the old operator, because there could be a case when the value entered is a new operator. Okay, yeah. So if that's the case, we need to first check if the new operator is empty or not, because sometimes when we add the value in new operator as well, if new operator is also populated, then before populating that, we need to perform our logic and we need to fetch the result, because we have only two values for operator. We are not handling multiple entry in the operator field, so we need to handle that. We'll come to that part, but we need to populate each and every field only. We populate the operators only when there is no value in our operator field. So these are not global variables. Okay, these will be basically deinitialized every time the person clicks on a button on the calculator. So these are not global variables, and these will never retain the previous values. If I need to create a global variable, then I need to outside I need to put that variable outside the document ID, like right now I'm doing. So this value would be retained for each call. Okay, for instance, if I enter some value here, then every time I enter a different, I hit a different button and my logic runs again, so the old value would be retained here. So any global variable is not declared inside a function. If you declare a variable inside a function, it does not retain its value after the function is executed once, and whenever we click, this function is executed right now. Let's see how it's working right now. 74, 25, okay. And now see, after we enter the second, it's coming into the second operator. Okay, so right now I think it's working fine. Now there is a case when I entered operator two times, one after the another. This is not handled, this is not working correctly. So whenever there is a value in old operator field, then I don't have to enter the value into new operator just if it's empty. If new operator is empty, then I need to check whether operand 2 is there or not. Otherwise I need to give out an error that two values, two operators cannot be entered simultaneously. You cannot write 3 plus and then minus. Okay, so I need to check that as well. That is why I used text fields, because I can see whether my logic is working right now or not. So in that case, I need to alert a message that the value is not correct, or you should enter a number. To have two operators after a number, this is not logically correct. And so I'll give out an error message on that. Alert is used to pop up any message onto the screen for anyone who is new to jQuery. And otherwise, if the old operator is null, the new operator is null, and then operand 2 has some value as well, then we can populate the value. So I've put it into the else part. Let's check it once again, plus, and then I again enter. Okay, now see, I'm getting an error message. Now what I need to do is I entered plus initially. So this should also not happen that I entered an operator first, because first should be an operand only. I mean, we need number first. It should not be like +3 +2. No, we need a number first. So we need to check before entering the value into old operator. We need to first of all check whether there is something in OP1 or not. So if there is nothing in OP1, we should not move forward. And the result, result is basically the calculator screen. So it should be populated in the end only, once the all the logic is verified, then only it should be populated. And if there is any input value, we'll return false, so that nothing enters into the string. Okay. See, now there is an error, and okay, it's still there. This should not have been there, because yes, so wherever there is an error, I will return false, so that no further execution occurs. Whenever there is a return statement, the function returns a value. Statements after that are not executed. So in case of a particular condition, say now it's an error, see, no result is populated now. Okay, and now when I enter an operand, a number, then it is working fine. I entered an illegal number, nothing is populating into my result field now. And now I enter an operator as well. Okay. This is the debugger mode, and we are checking the execution. Okay, so my value is an operator. Okay, so this is the issue. Basically, I have not used parentheses correctly. Let's check it once. It's not working. Okay. Okay. New operator field should have been populated. Okay. Here it should be. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're all set now. It should work correctly. No, it is entering the value into the result field multiple times, but it is not entering the value into the new operator. So we need to check the execution. See, this helps if we are using input text boxes, so we can check whether our logic is working fine or not, and then we can build on our logic incrementally. That is why I use this approach, so you can see through the logic development process as well. Because for newbie developers, this happens a lot. Logic development becomes a huge challenge, even for the most simplest applications out there. If I see my new operator is empty and then my operand is empty, okay, then only in the else part I should enter the value. Okay, now it's working fine. So basically it was the issue because I was not putting my conditions correctly out there. If my new operator is empty and then my operand 2 is empty, and my operand 2 is not empty, then only my value should be populated. So I have applied a new undefined check as well. What I was doing is I was putting my conditions incorrectly. Okay, so now here we'll place the Ajax call, and the Ajax call will hit our controller, and then it will assign the parameters and the operands. Earlier, what mistake I did was in the if condition, I was just checking for new operator to be empty or undefined, and then in the else operator, I was just assigning the value. Whereas I need to first check whether it is empty or not. Then I need to check whether the operand is empty or not, and then I need to assign the value. So the logic was a bit faulty in there. And once we put our Ajax logic in this else part, we need to populate our result into this result field as well, so that next operation can be performed. And when we make our Ajax call, our controller will return the value that we need to populate. Say for instance we enter 2 plus 3, and then when there is a new plus sign or a minus sign, then we need to repopulate the value first. Okay, so if there is any issue, please let me know. We'll do the rest part into our next video.